So let's rewind. Gordon Smith, someone fans already know from Better Call Saul. Yeah, the guy who wrote the legendary 5-0, has stepped up in Pluribus, not just as a writer, but also as a director and executive producer. His episode Grenade is quickly becoming the emotional center of the series. And what makes it fascinating is the way Smith builds tension around Carol Sturka, played by Rhea Seehorn, who's been fighting to stay human while an extraterrestrial hive mind tries to merge every living person into one shared consciousness. Sounds like pure science fiction, right? But according to Smith, this story isn't meant to be taken at face value. Instead, he says it's built so viewers can interpret it in multiple ways. Politics, technology, addiction, or even just what it means to be an individual in a world obsessed with being connected. Now, one of the biggest conversations online is about the show's supposed anti-AI message. I mean, when your closing credits literally say, "This show was made by humans," you're kind of inviting the comparison. Fans have been pointing out how The Joined, this collective hive mind, absorbs memories, knowledge, and personality, the way some fear AI systems do today. But here's the thing. Smith isn't denying that interpretation. He's just not committing to it either. He says the show mirrors the anxieties of the era. And yeah, AI is part of that. But he also hints that the story goes beyond that, pushing into themes about political division and what happens when society becomes so fractured that the idea of everyone thinking as one suddenly feels comforting, even tempting. But the real heart of the episode isn't the sci-fi machinery. It's the characters, and everything comes into focus during that intense confrontation between Carol and Zosha. Carol challenges the Joined on the ethics of how they know things by taking other people's memories instead of learning for themselves. It's a powerful moment because it touches on something deeply human: the value of earning your own experiences. Carol sees the Joined's version of knowledge as empty, stolen, mechanical. And that's where Gordon Smith's writing really shines. He places Carol in situations that make the audience question how much of our identity comes from the struggle, the pain, and the choices that shape us. The Joined may offer peace, but it's the kind of peace that asks you to sacrifice the messy, beautiful chaos of being yourself. Still, Smith insists the episode shouldn't be locked into one explanation. He loves that fans are finding different interpretations, because to him, that's the point. One person might see a warning about AI. Another might see commentary on politics, on tribalism, on how desperately we want certainty in a world drowning in conflicting opinions. According to Smith, the show is trying to operate on multiple levels at once, and that makes sense, considering how Pluribus constantly plays with the idea of interconnectedness, how connection can create unity, but also pressure, conformity, and the fear of losing yourself in the crowd. Carol's journey is all about resisting that pull, and Grenade amplifies that tension to its highest pitch. But here's where the conversation takes a surprising turn. A new fan theory that's gaining serious traction. People are saying Pluribus is secretly a story about addiction, not metaphorically. The clues are right there. Carol's breathalyzer in episode 1. The Xanax vodka scene in episode 3. The way she isolates herself. The way she's constantly juggling guilt, fear, and self-reliance. And get this, Gordon Smith actually responded to the theory. And he didn't shut it down. In fact, he said it harmonizes very strongly with his own experiences. That's huge, because it means the hive mind, the joining, might not just be technology or politics. It could be the escape addict's chase, the calm that hides a deeper loss of control, the idea that surrender feels peaceful until you realize what you've surrendered. Smith's comments open up a completely different way to understand Carol. If the joining represents addiction, then her resistance isn't just heroic, it's deeply personal. It explains her anger, her fear, her desperation to stay independent, even when the alternative looks easier. And suddenly, moments that felt like sci-fi world building become incredibly intimate. When Carol sees the Joined offer peace, It's the same kind of peace that numbing agents offer. Alcohol, pills, anything that makes the pain fade. But as Smith puts it, that peace is fraught because it's not healing, it's surrender. And that may be why fans connect so deeply with Carol. She's not just fighting aliens, she's fighting herself. She's fighting the parts of her life she'd rather erase. Behind the scenes, Smith also talked about the massive production challenges of bringing this story to life. The scale of Pluribus is bigger than anything he's done before. Working in real locations like an Albuquerque Sprouts Market meant racing against tight schedules, managing huge crews, and finding ways to make big ideas fit inside small windows of time. It's the kind of logistical chaos that mirrors the emotional chaos on screen. And yet, those challenges paid off. The episode feels grounded, real, almost documentary-like at times, despite its sci-fi premise. Smith says that difficulty actually became part of the storytelling, because when your characters are pushed to the edge, your production team ends up right there with them, fighting to capture every moment before it slips away. Then there's the show's obsession with time and consciousness. Two ideas woven tightly through Carol's journey. Being separate from the joined means Carol experiences time alone, moment by moment, while the hive mind experiences everything at once. That contrast creates a powerful sense of isolation. It makes us feel the weight of being human in a world that's moving faster, thinking collectively, and evolving beyond the pace of one person's emotional reality. Smith says this tension between the individual self and the shared whole isn't just sci-fi decoration, it's the emotional backbone of the series. And Grenade pushes that conflict right to the surface, forcing Carol to choose between staying painfully human or giving in to the seductive certainty of unity. As Pluribus continues releasing new episodes every Friday, these layered themes are only getting more intense. The show isn't interested in giving you one clean answer. Instead, Gilligan, Smith, and the entire creative team are building something richer, a story that challenges viewers to question their assumptions, their fears, their habits, and even their hopes. Whether you see the joining as AI, politics, addiction, or the modern world's endless pressure to sync up with everyone else, the heart of the story remains the same. Carol's fight to hold on to her identity when everything around her is dissolving into one. And if Grenade is any indication, the real explosion is still coming. Stick around, because Pluribus is just getting started. Imagine waking up one day only to realize the entire world has quietly slipped into a hive mind. Everyone connected, everyone thinking the same thoughts, everyone but you. Now, picture the only thing standing between you and that overwhelming collective being a single grenade and a choice you're terrified to make. That's the emotional pressure cooker at the heart of Vince Gilligan's newest mindbender, Pluribus. And today, we're diving deep into the episode everybody's talking about, Grenade, and the surprising insights writer-director Gordon Smith just revealed about the story, the themes, and the fan theories blowing up across the internet. Trust me, this episode isn't just another sci-fi thriller. It's layered, it's personal, and it might just be saying something very real about our world right now.